Welcome back to another episode of Horror Galore, and just like the last one, starting off with a video game. As you can clearly see, it's Friday the 13th, the video game for Xbox One. Now, it's tag. You're playing tag, and Jason's it. That's it. But you're not just like you're done. You have to kill the person, and depending on where they are inside Camp Crystal Lake, determines how you can kill that individual. Because if you catch the person by the fireplace, you can actually pick up the person and put them into the fireplace and burn them. Now, while you're playing Jason, the other people, the eight children the 8 teens, the teenagers that you're trying to kill, are other people. So it's a multiplayer game. There's I think at least 10 different versions of of Jason that you can play as, and each one has different traits. But it's a fun game. I thought it was fun. It's just one of those things where, unless you're playing with people you know, or you can get a group going, it's not going to be that much fun. Because basically everybody's trying to just do their own thing, and as the people running from Jason, you should really be working as a team, especially when one of the ways to win the game as a survivor is to outrun the clock. Another one is to board a boat and go to the other side of the island. The other way is to get the phones operating and call the cops, or you get the car running and can drive off. Well, you can't just go get the car keys, and you have to get the keys. There's got to be gasoline. The distributor cap, I think it's a distributor cap, has to be reinstalled. Well, that's teamwork. The boat, you just hop on and take off once you fill it up. But I think the boat only can hold like 2 people or something stupid like that. And then, in order to call the cops, you have to actually find the phone and find a fuse to turn on the electricity to it. So they don't make it easy to get out. But that takes teamwork, and anytime I've played it, I've never had people working, with each other. But nonetheless, it was still fun. 28 days later and 28 weeks later. Both very good movies. Both survival, horror, zombies, right? The first one sets up the second. And this, 28 days later, is hailed as one of the greatest horror films of the 20th century. 21st century. And 28 weeks later is still good. I don't think it's as great, though. Because the zombie apocalypse happens. The guy wakes up in the hospital, and all he remembers is that he's riding his bike because he's delivering Chinese food or something like that in England, in London, and he gets hit by a bus or a car or something like that. He's in the hospital and wakes up, and it's been like 2 months or like a month or something like that since it happened. He finds other survivors. They wind up making their way out to the country, but they have to deal with zombies and a regiment of British soldiers who haven't had sex in months and are horny as hell and are planning on raping the 2 women that are in the guy's crew. And he has to basically use the zombies against them. Against those people so they can get to freedom. Well, the sequel has none of them in it. The sequel winds up being children wind up sneaking out of the contamination zone, or the safe zone, and going into the contaminated zone, which then means that soldiers have to go after them to go save them. Which, in all honesty, should have been like, no, they left. We're not risking the men. We're not risking the time, the resources, the soldiers, to go after 2 children who can't follow the fucking rules. Goodbye. Now, That's not what they did in the film. They actually went after them. And there apparently was supposed to be a 28 months later. But that has never happened, and the idea came up that they were going to do it, and then they're like, well, I think we're done, did enough with this franchise, and then just stopped. Which is nice to see that someone in Hollywood actually went, let's not milk the shit out of this thing that is good. Let's not ruin it. Village of the Damned and Children of the Damned. First and second film, right? These are from the, I think, the late 50s, early 60s. At one point, this village just, everything stops for about 30 seconds. And then people wake up and they have no clue what happened. And the women in there are like, oh wait, how am I pregnant? I feel pregnant. Every woman in the village gets pregnant and no one has an idea. The children that they all give born are these little kids who have no facial expressions. They come out they're like, the moment they can talk, they're speaking perfect English. They're not even, mommy's going ooh goo gaga and the baby's going, mother, what are you doing? That sort of thing. That they're highly intelligent. They are, because they're aliens. And these children are there to study humanity. From the human's point, but they have no emotion, so they don't really get the full advance of it. Everyone in the place is scared of them, except one guy whose son, I believe it's actually this boy, his father is a doctor in town. Oh no, I think it's a school teacher or something. He's either a doctor or a teacher. But he winds up teaching them the entire class and teaches them everything they need to know, and they're all getting private school basically. And then that one they've denounced society. Humans are horrible people. The children are just still weird. They're emotionless. And people are terrified of them because they can kill you with their mind. And that's explained in the first one. They make people do things because they have telekinesis. Pumpkinhead 2, Bloodwings. Leprechaun, Wishmaster, and Wishmaster 2. Leprechaun, I watched a little bit of it, and I was like, this fucking movie is just shit. I don't know if it's supposed to be funny or not, but it was just shit. Apparently it's supposed to be really serious, and then because that movie, people thought it was funny, every film after Leprechaun 1 becomes a comedy horror, where this was supposed to be horror. Pumpkinhead 2 is not really that good. Nobody from the original Pumpkinhead's in it. So Ed Harley's not in it. The witch isn't in it. It winds up being in a completely different place. And the Pumpkinhead is basically the spirit of revenge. And Pumpkinhead has to come back and cause revenge on a group of adults who were a crew. Essentially, they were a clique called Bloodwings. They were a car crew. He comes back. Wishmaster 1 is a good film. Really good film. Wishmaster 2 is even good too. Wishmaster 3, as I discussed in the previous one, was garbage. But both of Wishmaster is a djinn. Comes back, has to grant 3 wishes to the person that awoken the djinn. Everyone else that says stuff, he just grants it. And somebody says, oh, I'd love to be beautiful forever. And then you see a mannequin wearing that person's clothing. That's what the djinn does. Whatever your wish is, he corrupts it. You could say, oh, I want $1 million. Well, all that $1 million that he just awarded you is stolen from the government and they're coming after you. Or it's all counterfeit money. You never specified it had to be real. And now, on to an even older group of movies. Carnival Souls and Horror Hotel. Carnival Souls was a really weird movie. It's a ghost film, but it takes place essentially on a boardwalk. Boardwalk Carnival. And I believe it was filmed in Maine. But Horror Hotel was a little bit better, a little bit better of a story involving the witch trials. So somebody the descendants from the witch trials are involved, and one of them has moved, and she's coming back for I think like her aunt died or something like that. There's a reason she comes back, and she has to stay at the hotel that is dubbed Horror Hotel. So they're good movies for the early 60s. They're kind of boring now, though. That's the problem. These two films, though, House on Haunted Hill and Last Man on Earth, you could say, hell, you should watch these first, because these are the originals. And then when you watch the remakes, you can see the differences. And you go, okay, House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price, right there. He's in both of these movies, by the way. The House on Hills in this is basically the same thing as the remake that I discussed in a previous episode. This House on Haunted Hill. This is the remake of that, right? Basically the same thing, except one with that, I say the last 45 minutes of it, they changed parts of it. And then the reason with that is that the ghost of a doctor is in the asylum, whereas this, I don't think there was a ghost, but it wasn't a horrible science doctor who's trying to kill people. It was a little less crazy than that one. Last Man on Earth is the second film adaptation of a book called The Omega Man. First book was The Omega Man. The first film adaptation was The Omega Man, and then it was Last Man on Earth. Well, you're thinking, I never heard of that being remade. They did. They called it I, Legend. That is what I, Legend becomes. Although, they did completely rewrite the way in this, it's clearly vampires. You can tell it's vampires. And it doesn't take place in New York City. It takes place like in Georgia or Alabama, something like that. Whereas Omega Man, I, Legend, takes place in New York City. And they restructured the vampires so they don't look like vampires. And I've had this discussion with people saying, oh no, they were zombies. They were vampires. Zombies aren't afraid of sunlight. They're not afraid of light. That's why when he sets up his perimeter, it's not just a tall wall or like barbed wire or anything. There's lights so that they get confused and think the sun is still out. That's why he only travels at daytime. Not because he's afraid of zombies, because it's vampires. And this one is not action. The Last Man on Earth is not an action film. It is intended to be more on the horror genre, so things are creepy and eerie, but no action really until the very final, the finale of the movie. That's about it. That's basically all the action you get. That's basically all the action for this video. So if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. At this point, I don't even need to tell you what to do with comments, because you should know. YouTube has been around for like 10 years. How do you not know what to do with comments? I'm not one of those people that shut the comment section down. Give me comments. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to give me some money, you can do that on Patreon. Links for all that is in the description below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.